So you're taking the LSAT in 2 months. Let's talk about how to double your practice test scores in the next 60 days. Of course, I don't mean by this that we're going to take your LSAT score from a 150 to a 300. I know well, the LSAT only goes up to 180, but let's talk about how to cut your mistakes in half to get you a significant score increase in just 60 days, whether you're brand new to the LSAT or you've been at this for a while. First off, if you're brand new to the LSAT, don't try to do it all in just 2 months. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. You cannot cram the LSAT. It's not a test of memorization. It's a test of skills, and it takes time to build your skills. If you're brand new to the LSAT, I do recommend postponing to a later test date in the fall to allow much more time for you to achieve your fullest potential. That being said, though, if you're really committed to knocking out the LSAT in the next 2 months because you're worried about logic games going away, for example, you can get a significant score increase in just 60 days. Hopefully, you've got the time to do nothing but study. If this is your path, here's how I do it just to empower you as much as possible to get you the biggest score increase possible in just 60 days or roughly 8 weeks, assuming you've done nothing before, based on my LASER approach to LSAT prep. LASER is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams, and Review, and it's the framework for any of my LSAT study plans, whether you're new to the LSAT or not. I'll break this down into 8 weeks, 2 weeks for the first 4 phases, review is being mixed in, of course. So the first phase, learning, you take 2 weeks for that, focusing on the most common LSAT question types. In logical reasoning, for example, the most common types are necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. I don't want you focusing on the rare question types that hardly ever show up, since every question's worth the same. So again, necessary assumption, inference, meaning must be true and most strongly supported, and flaw are the 3 biggest areas to focus on. Those are your lowest hanging fruit. For reading comprehension, I want you focusing on getting down just the main idea of the passage, the primary purpose, the author's opinion, the general, global, big picture stuff. The details, the supporting examples, you can always go back and find those in the passage when you need to help you solve a specific question, but I don't want you getting bogged down in everything when you've got just 2 weeks for this phase and only 8 weeks or so overall until the LSAT. Once you have a strong foundation, or a basic foundation at least, in the different sections, the different question types in the first phase of learning for the first 2 weeks, we then move on to the second 2 weeks, weeks 3 and 4, focused on accuracy. This is where you're drilling questions by type. So you're doing a bunch of inference questions in a row, a bunch of flaw questions in a row, a bunch of necessary assumption questions in a row to better understand the proper perspective from which to view each section and each question type. Once you're at roughly 70% accuracy on each of the major types of LSAT questions, we then move you on in week 5 to doing full-length timed sections, roughly 35 minutes with standard timing, a bit more if you have extra time accommodations. But so here you're working on your pacing, considering that, for example, there is a general order of difficulty in the logical reasoning section of the LSAT. So you want to get through the first 10 questions more quickly. I recommend 10 to 12 minutes or so to build up a time bank that you can then apply to the tougher questions later in the section that truly need it. So you're blasting through the easy ones, then slowing down on the tougher ones. Every question's worth the same, so I always recommend starting with the lowest hanging fruit first, the easiest questions, then getting on to the tougher ones once you've already locked up and secured those relatively easier points. Then after weeks 5 and 6 focused on sections, you pull it all together in weeks 7 and 8 focused on full-length timed practice tests. So these are 4 section exams with only a 10-minute break in the middle between sections 2 and 3. You're working on your endurance here. So you're sitting down with no other obligations, no interruptions, no distractions, just you and the LSAT practice tests. 2 sections back to back for an hour and 10 minutes, 10-minute break, 2 more sections back to back, and that's the sitting, that's the exam. You want to allow roughly 2.5 hours for this altogether, and you want to do these timed practice tests at least 1 or 2 per week over the next 2 weeks, and you're mixing in review using the Socratic review method framework. I have other videos on this. The idea here being that you're drilling down into exactly what's giving you trouble regarding a particular section, regarding a particular question type, so that you can learn from your mistakes to avoid making them again. Obviously, not a ton of time here to devote to this. If you only have 2 weeks for it, you'll have much more time for it if you are not brand new to the LSAT. So if you've been studying for a while, of course, the learning and accuracy phases are already taken care of. Now we're just moving on to a mix of timed sections, exams, and review. Every week for all 8 weeks is going to be the same here. You're focusing on taking a practice test, reviewing it, then doing 2 sections back to back, reviewing those, another exam, reviewing it, and 1 day off. So day 1 of the week is an exam, day 2 of the week is reviewing it, day 3 of the week is 2 sections, day 4 is review, day 5 is another exam, day 6 is review, and the 7th day you're taking off so that you don't burn out. Of course, if you discover any weak areas, you can drill them on the side, but that's the name of the game. This is the focus is exams and review. Finally, the day before the exam, you take the day off to rest, and that's it. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. I don't do any advertising for the channel. I rely only on word of mouth to help get the word out, and your sharing the video really does make a difference. And if you'd like my help creating a personalized day-by-day study plan, we offer that to all of our students inside the LSAT Unplugged community. You can check out the links below the video to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.